excuse me for laughing, but I have for many years now felt that the BBC's claim to be impartial is just a convenient fiction. I mean, it's laughable. BBC is not impartial. And I think we can all see that. It isn't impartial. It has not been impartial on many of the major issues of the past 20 or 30 years. It wasn't impartial on Brexit. It wasn't impartial on Donald Trump. It wasn't impartial, is not impartial now about Boris Johnson. Impartiality is a fiction. And it's time that the whole idea was jettisoned in favour of a more realistic approach, which would entail real reform at the BBC, because I, for one, would not like to see the BBC destroyed, but I do think that, as presently constituted, it's not fulfilling its bargain with the British public, which is to be impartial.
Yeah.
I mean, it simply isn't.
And I agree with you on all of that. I actually do. But I just want to come specifically, Robin, to this issue of Emily Maitlis, because Tim Davie, when he took the job of Director General, he promised that he was going to enact change. He promised that his presenters were no longer going to be able to express biased views. And he said that if they did, it didn't matter how famous they were, he was going to take action. But Emily Maitlis, now, since he's been in the job, has done this time and again, and no action has been taken.
Yeah, I completely take your point. And the point about Emily Maitlis is that she's a serial offender. And she has broken the BBC's impartiality rules now on a number of occasions, high-profile occasions. I mean, one thing you left out was the disgraceful interview she did with Rod Liddell, where she...
Oh, I know, yes.
It was described as a drive-by shooting rather than an interview. And she libeled him, called him a racist and all the rest of it. I mean, it was a disgraceful thing to do. The point
and Rod
is
will never forgive her for it.
That the BBC cannot... Tim Davie has said that he wants to reform the BBC. Well, at some point, people who break the impartiality rules have to suffer the consequences. At the moment, what's happening is that Emily Maitlis and some others have broken the rules time and again, and nothing has happened. Now, I am not somebody who would want to see another hack sacked. Look, I don't want Emily Maitlis out of the job. I'm not going to call for her resignation. I'll leave that to politicians. It's the kind of crappy thing that they do. But what I would say is this, that she has to suffer some pain for breaking the rules. Now, I don't know what that might be, if it's a penalty on her salary, if she's taken off air for 3 months, whatever it is.
Suspend her, exactly. No, I think that's a good idea. Okay,
something which shows that they're taking it seriously.
Exactly, and it would be a deterrent to others. Martin Bell, we've said a lot. I know you disagree. Why are we wrong? Why are we being unfair on Emily Maitlis?
I disagree with every word of it. You do opinion. Eamon Holmes does opinion. It's what you're about. And I think you need the BBC to define yourselves against. I've risked my life for these people. Mm-hmm. They're widely admired throughout the world. I would like to think, Dan, that you would like to keep the BBC as, if not the gold standard against you're judged against, but at least as a major broadcaster. They are widely
since you were there, Martin. It's changed. I used to adore the BBC. It's changed.
I've tried to change it. There are things now that I don't like. The second half of the 6 o'clock news in the evening on BBC One goes campaigning. I don't like that. But honestly, we owe them so much. And Dan, if you're allowed to offer, actually, I don't think Emily does offer opinion. She was retweeting something. But if you're allowed to offer opinion, why isn't she? Do you want to be the only opinionated broadcaster on the block?
No. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why, Martin. Because she is paid for by us, the taxpayers. And as a fundamental tenet of the BBC, they should keep their opinions to themselves. I mean, I actually say to Andrew Marr, good on him. He was sick of being in that BBC straitjacket. He's gone out to take the coin from the private sector, from the New Statesman and LBC, and now he can express his view and he can express his hatred for Boris Johnson every single week in the New Statesman. Good on him. But it's because she's paid for by us. You must understand that it's such a fundamental difference.
That I try to change the debate. I was there in 10 war zones in my life. And I don't think that on the one hand this, the other hand that is any use anymore. We should not be neutral between armed and the unarmed. And we haven't been. That the thing is changing. I'd like to know, as an eminent broadcaster yourself, whether you think you'd be better off without the BBC. Could you answer that?
I actually believe we would, yeah.
Okay.
I think
well,
I think it should be a subscription service, and then I believe, Martin, it will be accountable to the people who choose to pay for it. I really do fundamentally believe that.
Have you noticed that the major exposures of the things going on in Downing Street have not actually come from the BBC? They've come from Robert Peston and ITV News. I mean, it's not a BBC conspiracy. Could you accept that?
I think it's about how they've covered it. And let me bring Robin in on this, because I would say the BBC have put this Partygate story up to the top of the agenda for weeks and weeks and weeks now. And there is a bias in that, in my opinion, Robin. But do you agree?
Well, I mean, the BBC has been part of a pylon, and it's been out to get Boris ever since he became leader. Now, the BBC hates Boris with a passion. The reason they hate him is because he spearheaded Brexit, and the BBC was root and branch against the idea of Brexit. So, it's of course there's bias. The point is that within BBC newsrooms, you could not raise a cricket team of people who supported the Tories. And you certainly couldn't find many Boris Johnson supporters, I can tell you that. I mean, I'd like to pick up something with Martin, because Martin, many years ago when he was still at the BBC, he formulated this idea of something he called the journalism of attachment. And the journalism of attachment, as I understand the concept, was the idea that journalists out in the field, as he was in Bosnia, would take a moral position and decide which was the right side to support and which was the wrong side. And as it ended up, he was one of those powerful voices which ended up with Britain actually bombing Serbia. Now, I disagreed with that. I felt that it was a quarrel we should not have intervened in that way. The journalism of attachment also led us to attacking Libya, which was a disaster and an ongoing disaster. The journalism of attachment puts reporters in the position of making moral judgments. And I don't think that is the BBC's function.
Okay, final word to you, Martin Bell. I'll let you respond to that.
I think it's an outrageous allegation. I was in the line of fire as Mr. Aitken was not. I came to certain conclusions on the grounds of common humanity that we should help other people in desperate situations in desperate countries. And I have no regrets whatever.